Hi, everyone. Today, in this series of conversations, we have Dr. Tanvi with us, who is working as a refractive and cataract surgeon at Lakshmi Eye Hospital. And she is a prolific refractive and cataract surgeon. She's done her ophthalmology residency and then done her training in refractive surgery. She is renowned for her refractive and cataract surgeries, and she's won multiple awards at multiple international and national conferences, and she has multiple publications to her name. And she does very active postgraduate training also. Welcome, Dr. Tanvi.
Thank you, Dr. Raghav.
Okay, so I just have a couple of questions which I want to discuss with you. So I know better about you. So
Yeah, sure.
the purpose of this conversation is for your patients to know the Dr. Tanvi that they don't know. They don't want to know the ophthalmologist. They want to know the human side of ophthalmology.
Yeah.
That's our purpose. We don't want to doctorize the human. We want to humanize the
Nice.
doctor.
Sure.
Right. So let's talk about cataract surgery. So we know that cataract is something that happens to everybody.
True.
We call it safed motia, motiabin. सबको होता है उससे vision with age becomes poorer and poorer, and it happens mostly in the late 50s or 60s. But nowadays we are seeing that there's a trend.
It's quite early as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think? Why is that?
So, I think to clear it, that cataract can happen at any age. We know that there are cataracts which are congenital as well.
Yes.
There are children born with it. And we've also seen the trend that is happening is that in the early 40s or even 50s, a lot of patients are getting cataracts as well. And the first question they ask is that, I'm not old. Why do I have this problem?
Yes.
And I think it's important for us to address that it's not something that you've done that you've got the cataract.
Okay.
Most times it's idiopathic. You really don't know the cause of it. Sometimes it could be a metabolic problem. Patients having diabetes are now getting it a little earlier than what we would have seen at 60 and 70s. And several other reasons which are unknown. But the more important part is that needs to be addressed at that time, especially if it's in a young child or in a, mostly a neonate or a baby. Because if they deprive that patient from a surgery at that age, it's going to have disastrous consequences. The patient is or the child will not have a good seeing eye, and that is something which will completely change his life. So anytime there is cataract detected, it is important to go show the doctor, get it checked, and with the kind of technology we have today, the sky is the limit. You can see the world so much better. There are good IOLs, there are good skilled surgeons, technology. So you should go for an early treatment for it.
You mentioned that there are children who are born with cataracts.
Yeah.
So we are ophthalmologists, we know how to detect a cataract, but what do you tell the parents? How will they know that
Yeah.
the child has a cataract or is born with one?
Correct. So, first, when the child is born, the good pediatrician that they may have gone to would obviously check for all of these things. Suppose it gets missed for whatever reason, or maybe, the child is not very cooperative. Newborns normally have their eyes closed. So what they could do is they need to, the mother can see if the child is able to follow a bit of movement. The mother is the most loving person.
Yes.
The child, the attachment is very strong.
Yeah.
So the mother can surely see if the baby is moving his eyes
Yes.
towards her whenever she's moving around. They can even just put a little bit of light on the eye and see if, there is a white reflex. Sometimes the cataracts are white in color. You could see if that is there. They could maybe try closing one eye and seeing if the child is, restricting the closure of one eye. But all of this is at a slightly later age, maybe by 9 months or 10 months of age.
Okay.
But a good pediatrician is the one that can pick it up. So I would ideally suggest all parents, if they feel that something is different, and I feel that a mother's instinct always is very strong about these things. If the mother feels something's wrong, she should go take the child either to a pediatric ophthalmologist as well, or then to a child doctor.
Yes. That's actually scary, just for a mother to know that the
Yes.
child is not reacting how he or she should. Okay, so talking about cataracts, so there are a number of types of surgeries. Of course, cataract has been done since the time of Sushruta. I think India
Yes.
was the country to
Couching.
actually
Yes.
couching. So couching was a type of surgery where a pin was poked inside the eye and the
Absolutely. If you
cataract
look
was
at it
pushed
today,
inside the eye.
you wouldn't know how they did it. And
Yes. I saw this video on YouTube where there's this African doctor.
They're still doing it.
They're still doing it. So there are certain villages. I don't think it's practiced in India much, but yes,
No.
but now there are certain villages in Africa where they are doing couching, which is the earliest form of cataract surgery, where a cataract, which we refer to as पका हुआ, जो मोतिया पूरा पक जाता है, उसको हम आँख के अंदर बस push कर देते हैं, and the patient can just count fingers. So
Yeah.
that's not actually a surgery per se. The surgery has evolved from that type of surgery to having a very advanced surgery where I
Absolutely.
think you get better vision than normal also.
Today
right?
we are doing
Is that true?
surgeries for patients who don't have cataracts.
Wow.
Yes, I mean you're doing it as a surgery to give them kind of a spectacle-free vision.
Okay.
So I mean definitely technology has evolved. If you look at the trend, it obviously started with couching, and then my father did the ICC, which was they removed the entire thing through
Yes.
an opening in the cornea, and then I kind of started with ECC.
Yes.
So initially, I mean, during my residency, we would have one microscope and there would not be any side scope. So we would
Wow.
literally be watching with our naked eye. And I still remember, like, for example, if the microscope stops working today, I would be able to do a rhexis without seeing anything because we've kind of been trained to see how the capsule moves.
Yes.
Because I would look through the side as an assistant. But so when I saw that huge, incision being made, 8 millimeters, and then so many sutures being taken, and then the patient was still very happy at the end of the day.
Yes.
So I feel that the way our human psychology has also changed over time. There used to be a time when you would give them huge astigmatism post-surgery, a big number.
So you mean that patients had to wear glasses after surgery?
Yes, and they would still be very happy. And today, we don't, most of the patients come without glasses, saying, or rather with glasses, they want to get rid of them. They don't have cataract. And then we are kind of in that pressure zone when we
Yes.
need to do everything really perfect. But thanks to the technology we have today, it is possible.
So I think the most common questions that the patients that are walking into our clinic have is that, should I get it operated right now? So is there a
Yeah.
particular answer that when should the cataract be removed?
Yeah, I personally, I have always been a slightly conservative surgeon.
Okay.
In the sense, I feel, or rather, this is something I've learned from my father. He would say that let's leave the eye the way it is today. So even if you do
Okay.
surgery, my aim always has been to do meticulous, minimum touching of the eye so that the way it is before, I would like to leave it after. So in case a patient comes to me who is well corrected with glasses,
Okay.
who is seeing well, is not having any symptoms like the night vision glare or,
Yes.
problems in sunlight, or he's not having any issues per se because of the cataract,
Yes.
I would then wait. I would ask the patient to come back at a follow-up maybe 6 months or a year later. But that definitely is my personal way to go because the natural lens, unfortunately today, nothing is able to match to what the natural lens can see. I'm sure I will change these words maybe in the next 5-10 years because the way advancements are being made in IOL formulations and the way optics are changing, that may not be so in the near future. But today I feel what has been God given, you really cannot match it. So if the lens is working well, if the patient is fine with his glasses and he is okay wearing glasses, I would want to wait until the cataract symptoms arise.
Okay. So it's basically a relative situation. So
Yes,
basically,
I do have that conversation with the patient. I do tell them what is it that they'll expect after the surgery. If they are keen, or suppose it's a patient who has a very thick glass power, around a +3 for distance and a +6 for near, it's a difficulty that he's going with every day in and out. And if I can help him with that, because after cataract surgery, almost all his number is going to go away. So if that kind of situation is what I can offer, I will have that conversation. And if he wishes that, we would go ahead with the surgery.
do you remember your first cataract surgery?
I do.
What was the
It
night prior? Did you know that you're going to operate tomorrow?
I did. So we had our duty rosters, and
Yes.
you know that, I had assisted a couple of them before. And as a due diligent student, I had called up all the people who I knew, my father first, and we had drawn diagrams on how I'm supposed to approach the incision, how many millimeters am I supposed to take. I actually have those drawings of my father who had drawn this eye, and, you have to go from here to here. Obviously, it was a totally different situation when it did. But it took a long time. I did it extremely slowly as I could. I think it almost took 1.5 hours maybe.
Wow.
And that was an ECC. So imagine suturing all those 5 sutures, and this was the first time ever. So I remember the patient as well. It would be interesting to know that I used to work in a rural area. So all of those patients were of a lower socioeconomic class.
Yeah.
And for them, whatever kind of surgery we did was gratifying.
Yes,
And I
yes.
remember them coming back, calling my name and saying, thank you so much. And I would be like, this is the first surgery I've
Yes,
done. And,
yes.
I think I learned a lot of empathy from that time because I didn't do anything big, but that person feels like I
that
did a
person was
huge
big, yeah.
difference to his life. And I think that's something I keep remembering to do for every patient because it's important. It's something we are changing in their lives forever.
Yes. For our non-ophthalmologists, it's a very big event for a surgeon to do their first surgery. And it's not that they are left in deep water. So what happens is that when we are doing one of our initial few cases, we do have a senior ophthalmologist who is with us.
Yes.
So we are always operating under guidance. If there is any change or if there is any change required to the type of surgery being done, type of step being
Yes,
done, so they always
yes.
take over.
Yes.
But it's a very,
and
very
we've
big...
assisted many times
Yes,
before
yes.
we actually go. Some
Yes.
few steps may probably be given, and we've kind of done those things before we actually do it independently.
But it's that first surgery that actually leaves a mark on the surgeon.
Yes.
So I'm sure it must have been a great, great feeling, doing that first surgery.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's when I realized that yes, I'm a born surgeon. I love to operate, and that's something it was very meditative. So
And also, she mentioned ECCE, right? That stands for
Yes.
extra capsular cataract extraction. So that is a type of surgery where we make about a 6 to 8 millimeter
millimeters
incision on the
incision.
eye, and then we take out the cataract as a whole, and then we put sutures. Sutures right now are very thin, but
yeah.
back in the day we had steel sutures.
Yes.
That's for you. So just imagine cutting up the eye and putting
Yes.
steel sutures.
Yes.
From that to now we have robotic surgery, right?
Absolutely.
And
But
you said you
only-
took 1.5 hours. Now you probably take 5 minutes.
Yes,
So what?
5 to 10 minutes. That's
Just
right.
imagine
Yeah.
doing a surgery in 5 to 10 minutes, and it must be an experience for the patient,
Absolutely,
right? How do you
absolutely.
counsel your patient for CAT? What should the patient expect before a
So
surgery?
today, fortunately for the patient,
Yeah.
most of the ophthalmologists are skilled to do microincision surgeries.
Okay.
So the maximum population would know how to do the phacoemulsification, which, as we know, is done through a 2.2 sometimes incision, 2.2, 2.4
2.2 millimeters.
millimeters.
That is,
That's
oh
a
my
very
God.
small
For our
incision.
audience, we should actually take out your ruler and
Yes,
see what
and
is
see how small that is.
2 millimeters. Wow.
And doing that small incision surgery is obviously keeping the eye as intact as possible. So the dictum, like I said, which I
Yes.
would every time want to follow,
Makes
is
sense.
trying to keep it exactly how it was before and after. And I think because the way, and obviously the femtosecond laser machine that has come up, that has brought cataract surgery to a more precise, more reproducible, way. Because I think the way I counsel a patient, suppose a patient wants to get cataract surgery, and we can offer them many different types. Primarily, I would offer them the phacoemulsification, which is done by me, or by the femtosecond laser cataract surgery. And obviously, everybody wants to know, why are there two different methods? I mean, you've done surgery for so many years. Your father's done it for so many years. His hand is as good as a femtosecond laser.
Yes,
So why would you
yes.
want to choose the other?
Yes.
So then I feel that you need to understand, or the patients need to understand, is if you do 10 surgeries, one after the other on the same
Yes,
day,
yes.
I may get the perfect rhexis on the first, the second, but probably not on the 9th or the 10th. Because it is a hand. You
Yes.
cannot measure a 5 millimeter rhexis, how much ever you try to.
Okay.
And there are certain benefits that we now know which are afforded by the femtosecond laser machine. So because those important steps are done inside the eye, in a closed eye, you are spending less time inside the eye. You are keeping the endothelium protected. So the eye stays much more calmer after surgery. So all of these factors are going to give you a faster recovery. And who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want to keep the eye in a much
As
calmer
is.
state than what it was
So,
before?
Dr. Tanvi, talk to me like a 5-year-old. What is a robotic surgery? Is
So,
it a robot coming into the room and
Yes,
doing
so
the
that's
surgery?
a great question, because 2-3 of my patients after undergoing femtosecond laser told me, Madam, but I didn't see any robot
So,
in the
femtosecond
machine.
laser and robotic surgery and artificial intelligence cataract surgery are similar.
Yes. So when you call artificial intelligence incorporated into cataract surgery, today it is more for an IOL power development.
Okay.
So so for everybody to understand, when we do cataract surgery, what's done is we remove the cataract. We then put a lens to replace it. You cannot just leave the eye without any lens.
Right.
And when we put that lens in, we need to measure the lens so that, because each eye will require a different power of a lens. The power that needs to go inside should make the eye see better, either for distance or near, depending on the optics of the lens.
Okay.
And that kind of gets calculated by, or rather before the surgery, by a lot of factors.
Okay.
We've put the lens in. Now we've imagined that it's going and sitting in a place.
Yes.
We don't really know where it goes and sits in.
Yes.
There is definitely a very small error or margin of error in all of these factors. But artificial intelligence has now kind of reduced that margin of error even more. So they are analyzing a lot of things. So they use something called as an artificial neural network.
Okay.
And they are analyzing several eyes and trying to figure out that if this eye has certain parameters, this should be the IOL power that's to be used. And that will give the precise outcome for a patient. So great things coming up the way.
So looking
but
at the future, do you think you and I will be replaced by artificial intelligence, or us ophthalmologists or doctors?
I think that
in
we
general?
should learn how to use them better, because
Okay.
they can never replace us, but we need to learn how to utilize them better.
Okay.
Because there is definitely a time where they are going to think better than us,
Okay.
but they are going to still need us. A robot will, and a human is full of, emotions.
Emotions, yes,
He's
yes.
full of a lot of other drama, which the
Yes.
robot may or may not be used to. So,
handling a
handling a patient
does require that emotion.
does require us. But
Yes.
we need to learn how to utilize the AI, because there is going to
advantage.
come a day when maybe you and I just go to some place and, that light adjustable IOLs are coming
Yes,
in,
yes.
where we put some lens in the eye and we can adjust the power after surgery, depending on how the post-operative outcome is. And I foresee someday, you may even be able to reverse the denaturation of the lens that's happening.
Very
And,
important point you raised, Dr. Tanvi. So, of course, we have read multiple articles where there have been drops that have been
Yes.
told that they can
Reverse
reverse
cataract.
cataract. So, is it true, and does it work? And lots of patients,
seem to have had success as
yes,
well.
and lots of patients are coming to me and say, Doctor साहब कोई ऐसी दवाई बताओ, मेरा मोतिया वापस
चला
चला जाए, मेरे को ऑपरेशन नहीं कराना. So you and I know the answer is a cataract surgery, but
Yeah.
how do you explain to a patient that there is no such drug that can reverse cataract?
At least today there is no drug. So what happens in cataract is that the proteins, or lens is made of proteins, and
Yes.
that sort of denatures and it becomes opaque.
So I like to tell my patients that the natural lens, that is the lens inside the eye, is like a
Clear,
like an egg. It's like an egg.
Yes.
So if you have an egg, a raw egg, if you just break it open, it's going to be liquid. It's going to
Correct.
be yolk and the egg white, which is
Correct.
transparent.
Correct.
But once you boil that egg, the egg white turns white.
Correct.
Similarly, as we age, there are
Age.
proteins inside our lens, and with multiple factors, exposure to UV
UV light,
radiation,
yes.
and multiple drugs,
Nutrition.
nutrition, multiple factors, because the nutrition that our body gets is the same nutrition that our eye is also
Correct.
getting. If there's a change in nutrition with age, that protein inside our lens actually turns yellow or white, and that's when we have a cataract.
Correct.
So in a cataract surgery, that has to be removed, and we
Yes.
put in an artificial lens which has a similar power to our natural
Natural
lens,
eye,
right?
yeah.
But those lenses come in different qualities and different
Yes.
types, right? That's what you are suggesting.
Yes.
So just walk us through what kind of lenses are available, because there are because there are misnomers,
Yeah.
or there are myths about the type of lenses. Some
Yeah.
say it's EDOF. Patients don't know what an
Yeah,
EDOF
so
is.
there
They
are
just
many
say-
names that have
Yes.
come up, and it's
Please.
a little confusing for
Yes.
anybody to
Yes.
understand. So, to begin with, I would say broadly, if you want to
Yes.
look at what a lens can do, is, or rather, let's look at it from a different perspective. Broadly, in our day life, we need 3 distances to kind of look at, which will, give us a good daily routine.
Right.
One is the distance, that is infinity. You need to use that for your daily walks. You need to go out. You want to watch a movie. All of that is at a distance target. Then comes the next, which is sort of an intermediate target. And that's required for anybody who's driving. A dashboard is at a intermediate distance. Your laptops, you go out for shopping, your groceries. Mobiles are now at an intermediate distance. And then obviously the near, because you need to read your prescriptions, you need to write something, you need to
Yes.
apply makeup.
Yes.
So all of this
Yes.
comes at a near distance. And any lens which will give us all of these things is obviously an ideal lens.
Yes.
But like they say, there's no free lunch.
Right.
Each lens has its sort of pros and cons, and we need to understand the optics of these lenses, we meaning an ophthalmologist, and then ask the patient, speak to them, counsel them, understand their needs, their lifestyles, and then kind of match the two.
Okay. So it's like every glove doesn't fit each
Absolutely.
hand, so we have to find the right fit for the
Absolutely.
patient.
The names may be anything. So a monofocal lens as we know, gives good distance vision. But for the rest of them, you will need glasses. Then there's something called as an advanced monofocal, something called as an EDOF. But, these names are sort of confusing for a
For the
patient.
patient.
An advanced monofocal or an EDOF, let's club them together for the sake of understanding, is that it gives great vision for distance,
Yes.
good amount for your intermediate, but you will need to see, for near, you will need to wear a small number glass. And then the trifocals, which we know give everything, all the three distances. Again, if you go into the nuances of the optics of these lenses, there are going to be some patients who may be better suited for one over the other.
Okay.
And that's a very individualistic decision. So it's not that I say that the trifocals are the best or the monofocals are the best. For your eye, a totally different thing would be
The
good.
ophthalmologist will tell you better.
Yes.
Okay, so our eyes are made for distance vision, right? Which is
Yes.
that we have humanized the world, so we require books and we read. So is it true that monofocal lenses, which give us very good vision for distance, but we require glasses for reading, is the ideal lens gives us very good quality of vision? But our world right now has become a bit limited to 80 centimeters or 90 centimeters around. Why? Because even if you're driving,
Yeah.
you're not looking at the car, you're looking at Google Maps.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
You're looking at your dashboard more than the distance. So that intermediate vision is very, very important,
Yeah,
which we
yeah,
don't understand.
yeah.
So that's why even though these advanced lenses are giving us good vision for intermediate and near, but they come with certain amount of, I would say, trade-off.
Yes,
What do you
that's
say?
the correct word. So,
Yes?
to be honest, like I said, I think it depends on the lifestyle of a patient.
Okay.
There are a lot of patients who come today. So recently, we had to operate on a young boy who was a shooter. He was a professional shooter, and he's a 30-year-old chap. Obviously, has not got presbyopia. He doesn't
Yeah.
need reading glasses, and he's got a cataract which we then need to operate. Now imagine removing a lens. I mean, I felt so sad because I was removing a lens, a natural lens, which was giving him great vision for
Yeah.
near, but he was finding it difficult because he needs to look through a small pinhole to shoot. And that was, he had a small PSC right in the center. So he's not able to look
So you
at
got a
his
cataract
target
right in the
right
center.
in the center. And that's exactly coming in his visual axis. And what do you give to this patient? If you give him a trifocal or obviously because the other eye doesn't have cataract and he
Yeah.
will need something for reading,
He'll have an imbalance.
he will have an imbalance if you just give him for something for distance. But we had a conversation with him. We tried to understand what his needs were. And for him, that distance crisp vision was the way to go. So
Yeah.
for him, we
Makes
did
sense.
not choose a trifocal lens. We went for an EDOF lens, which will give him some semblance of an intermediate, and his other eye would obviously help him for near. But I think in these certain things, a monofocal or an EDOF lens definitely
Works better.
scores because it will give the promised distance vision well,
Yes.
as long as the patient is happy wearing glasses.
Yes. So it's supposed to be discussed with the patient prior
Yes.
so that the patient knows what
Yes.
to expect. Right? Because we've seen cases where a patient is given a certain type of lens, but the outcome was different to what the patient expected. Why? Because the patient goes into the cataract surgery having vision
Certain
for distance
expectations
and
also.
for near vision and having certain expectations. But once they are not met, and once he knows now it is irreversible,
Yeah.
that's when the patient tends to be unhappy.
True.
So it's like you rightly said, it is a very tailored approach
True.
for lenses. Okay, so I also want to. So I had this. It's not leaving my head the idea of children having cataract.
Yes.
So if let's say a child is undergoing a cataract surgery, of course, it's the parent that you're going to talk to, not the child. The child
Yeah.
is not really knowing
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So how do you manage the expectations of the parent and you tell? Because of course, I'm sure there must be certain nuances about putting a lens inside the eye of a child because the
Yeah.
size might be different.
Yeah, true. So again, it depends on the age at which that cataract has come up and the
Yeah.
patient has gotten operated. There are a lot of dictums being followed. But if it is a child who is less than 1 year of age, we tend to wait until he is 1 years, and then we sometimes the child may even require a second operation, wherein then the lens is implanted at
later.
that age. Yes.
Okay.
But whatever may be the situation, whether the lens was put initially or not, the next most important obstacle, I would say, or the hurdle that the parents need to cross is to stimulate that eye.
Okay.
So imagine that the eye can't see. So if it's just one eye, the patient may have cataract, that eye is not able to see. Or rather, the patient is only able to see something as close to this distance.
Yes.
And if that is the situation, and if it gets ignored, that eye is going to become lazy. And that crucial or a sensitive time for every child's life, which is up till 11 years of age, if that gets ignored or lost, that vision to come back is extremely difficult. So for most parents, they need to stimulate the eye, and there are many ways to do that. So simple thing like patching the good eye and trying to stimulate the other eye is one that they can try. There are a lot of therapies available today. So they can go to an ophthalmologist. They will give them amblyopia therapy. And that kind of exercises or some games that are shown on a computer which may,
help
excite
improve
the
the
child.
vision.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all of these things are available today. So there is no excuse for anybody to kind of ignore a lazy eye, because when if you've ignored those initial few years, you've lost on that important time. So I would say at this point, it is important to educate parents that the first checkup for any child needs to be done at age 3. The child can't read at that time, but we are equipped to kind of figure out if there's a
Yes.
power in the eye
Yes.
or not.
Yes.
The next needs to be done at age 5, because by then the child is able to recognize
Communicate.
maybe a few objects, or they can call a house, they can
Right.
talk. So that is the next checkup that needs to be done. And then after that, depending on what the eye status is, if he has number or not, continue to do a yearly checkup.
Okay, that's interesting. Also, Dr. Tanvi, coming on to, when you talk to a patient who is about to undergo a cataract surgery, very common question is, Doctor साहब कोई complication, कोई problem तो नहीं आएगी? So how do you counsel your patient? Because we know that every surgery does have a set
Absolutely.
of complications. There is no surgery without
Yeah,
complications.
yeah.
So what do you tell your patients about
So
surgery?
a little
for
off.
complications?
This is not something
Yeah.
I tell every patient, but when a
Yeah.
third time the patient asks me कुछ होगा तो नहीं, then I tell them कि आप यहाँ से वहाँ cross करने रोड जब जाओगे आपको कुछ होगा तो नहीं.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yes.
like that, but at the same time I tell them that we are skilled enough
Yeah.
to take care of any complication if at all it happens, because it is we know the parameters of the eye. We know if this cataract is there, what needs to be done. We have trained ourselves for so many years to be able to handle that well. So if at all, God forbid, something does happen, we also know how to solve it.
Right.
But
Right.
if it's a regular cataract, we know that the outcome is going to be good. So we do reassure the patient.
Yes.
And before the surgery, we have taken those steps. We have done all those tests. We've looked at the lens. We've looked at the retina. We've made sure the pressures are fine. So we've looked at those. Due diligence is done so that we know that the patient will get a good outcome.
So simply put, a patient should understand that yes, surgery is a surgery, even a cataract surgery, is even the most simplest way, because I think it's one of the most commonly performed
Yes.
surgery in the world, because we have double the number of eyes than the population.
Yes, and the surgeons.
So, and the surgeons. So of course, if a complication does occur, we are equipped to manage them very well.
Yes.
So there is no loss of vision.
Yes, very rarely. Yeah.
So let me go into a darker zone, and of course you must have had complications.
Yes.
Everybody does. Even
Yes.
I have had, and everybody, even the best, they happen to the best. So when a complication does occur, is it equally hard on a surgeon?
Oh, I think
Of
it's
course, for a
more
patient,
hard
of
on the
course, there is no
surgeon.
excuse. A complication is a complication, but what goes through a surgeon's mind?
So I wouldn't be able to answer that for others, but
Yes, for yourself,
personally,
yes.
I mean, let me tell you the story of the first complication that I had, and
Oh,
it was the
please.
disastrous one ever. So I was actually traveling from one hospital to the charitable hospital with my mentor in the car. And I remember we were just discussing, the different types of surgeries, and I just asked him, so what may happen if I get a nucleus drop?
So
And,
for nucleus drop is basically when the cataract kind of falls inside the eye.
inside the
Okay.
at the back of the into the vitreous. And so he obviously told me what has to be done and all of that. And this is on the way to the hospital, and the patient that I take up, within a second it was a hypermature, very pseudo exfoliation,
cataract.
dense cataract, all the complications, week
Yes.
back. The minute I went in with the phaco probe, it dropped.
There was a complication.
So I think that thing taught me two things very
Yes.
importantly is again something I feel most aspiring or budding surgeons should remember is that if you get a negative thought in your mind, so I was talking about what if I get a nucleus drop, and exactly that's what happened. If you do get a negative thought in your mind, and it's very easy to get one, right, as
Yeah.
a beginner surgeon, it is important to replace it with a positive one.
Positive thought.
That we will be able to manage it. We'll do something about it. Or it won't happen. I mean, it may sound very naive, but if you say that, I feel that a lot of things, because you have trained yourself, right? You are skilled to do it.
Yes.
You should not let your anxieties take over.
Right.
And obviously, at that time, fortunately for me, my mentor was right by beside, and he took over. He, the case was all okay. So,
So
yes,
it turned out fine, right?
It turned out
so it was the
absolutely
most
fine.
disastrous complication,
Yes.
but it turned out fine because
Yes.
we were equipped to manage it.
yes,
Actually, I tell my patients when they ask about complications, it's of course, if I am going for my surgery to a surgeon, I will of course place my trust in him.
Yeah.
It is the same thing like you're probably traveling on a flight at night. Right?
Yes,
So
yes.
you're on a plane, you're
Yes.
with a pilot who you don't know.
Yes.
You're in a plane and
Correct.
with strangers and you can't see.
correct.
But of course, you sleep.
You exactly.
You sleep on the plane, so of course you
Yeah.
place your trust on to God
Yeah.
and to
On
the
to the-
pilot.
correct.
And things usually and most of the time turn out well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So डॉक्टर तन्वी हमने डिस्कस किया हमारे कॉम्प्लिकेशंस की कैटरैक्ट में क्या कॉम्प्लिकेशंस हो सकते हैं एंड हाउ यू लर्नड कैटरैक्ट सर्जरी. आपकी स्टोरी क्या थी आपके फर्स्ट कैटरैक्ट की, आपके फर्स्ट कॉम्प्लिकेशन की. अब आप जूनियर्स को ट्रेन कर रहे हो. Every junior, of course, every cataract surgeon has this journey. First
Correct.
case, first complication, and then first success. So, आपके माइंड में क्या होता है ट्रेन करते करते? Do you learn from your mistakes?
So, जब अभी हमारे पास हर जन को हर दिन एक अलग अलग सर्जन ट्रेन करता है. जिस दिन मेरे वो पास आता है सर्जन, सो आई थिंक सबसे पहले हम ये चीज़ कभी नहीं देखते हैं, बट ये देखना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि वो पेशेंट के साथ बैठ कैसे रहा है. सो इफ़ यू नो, हम लेटाते हैं पेशेंट को एंड देन द सर्जन सिट्स ऑन वन साइड. अब वो जो शुरू तो कर रहा है एज अ सर्जन, ऑब्वियसली थोड़े डिफिकल्टीज रहते हैं. हम किस तरह से वो पकड़ रहे हैं प्रोब को, किस तरह से एंटर कर रहे हैं. हम सब चीज़ माइक्रोस्कोप से देख रहे हैं. सो हमें वो सिर्फ आँख दिखाई दे रही है, आँख अंदर जाने वाले इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स दिखाई दे रहे हैं. ये नहीं दिख रहा कि वो बैठा ऐसा है या सीधा है या उसका हाथ ऊपर है या हाथ नीचे है. एंड ये सारी छोटी छोटी जो चीज़ें हैं वो बहुत मायने देती है. एंड ये मुझे अभी महसूस होने लगा है व्हेन आई हैव स्टार्टेड ट्रेनिंग देम, इज दैट दे हैव स्टार्टेड डूइंग द सर्जरी एंड दे आर नॉट डूइंग इट करेक्टली. अगर मैं उनको कहूँ ऐसे नहीं ऐसे करिए, दे आर नॉट एबल टू डू इट. एंड आई रियलाइज इट ओवर टाइम इज बिकॉज दे वॉन्ट एबल टू फिगर इट आउट, बिकॉज उनकी आँख देख रही है वो, बट उनको समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा मैं करूँ क्या. सो नाउ व्हाट वी हैव स्टार्टेड डूइंग इज कि हम बाहर से उनको दिखाते हैं. सो हम रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं उनके हाथों को, उनके बॉडी को, एंड वी आर ट्राइंग टू शो देम कि आपने अगर आपका हाथ इस तरीके से रखा तो शायद अंदर का चीज़ आपका वो चेंज होता है, एंड इट मेक्स अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस. सो दैट्स समथिंग दैट वी हैव स्टार्टेड डूइंग.
अभी रिसेंटली एक स्टडी हुई थी
Is
कि
it?
हैंड आई कोऑर्डिनेशन का इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है सर्जन्स के लिए.
यस.
एंड जो लोग बचपन में ज़्यादा वीडियो गेम्स खेलते हैं
अच्छा.
उनका हैंड आई कोऑर्डिनेशन बेटर हो जाता
आई
है.
वॉन्टेड टू से बिकॉज मैं वो करती थी.
मैं भी करता था.
हाँ, वीडियो गेम्स नहीं. मैं बहुत सारा निटिंग करती थी और क्रोशे करती थी. सो उसमें दोनों हाथों का उपयोग होता है. एंड ये मैं हर जन जो मेरे यहाँ अभी आ रहा है एज अ ट्रेनर, एज अ ट्रेनी, उसको कहती हूँ कि तुम कुछ तो करो जिससे आपका लेफ्ट हैंड स्टिमुलेट हो. बिकॉज एज यू नो हमारे सर्जरी में लेफ्ट हाथ से बहुत कुछ डिटेलिंग हमें करना पड़ता है, एंड दैट इज काइंड ऑफ अ मेक और ब्रेक फॉर द सर्जरी. और बहुत लोगों का लेफ्ट हैंड डोमिनेंट नहीं रहता और दे आर नॉट यूज्ड टू इट. सो आइदर सुबह ब्रश करना शुरू कर दो लेफ्ट हैंड से, या यू नो कुछ तो करो ताकि ये थोड़ा सा स्टिमुलेट हो.
एक चीज जो शायद नॉन ऑप्थेल्मोलॉजिस्ट को ना पता हो कि इस कैटरैक्ट सर्जरी करने में हमें 2 हाथ
और एक
दो पैर
दो पैर
एंड अपनी वॉइस का इस्तेमाल करना है एंड आंखों से हमें देखना है माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर.
दैट्स राइट.
जो हमारी आंख का साइज है बहुत छोटा है.
Yes.
हम माइक्रोस्कोप में उसको 4 to 5
Yes.
टाइम्स मल्टीप्लाई और मैग्नीफाई करके देखते
Correct,
हैं.
correct.
हमारी एक हाथ में एक मशीन है, दूसरे हाथ में दूसरा इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, एक पैर में एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट चल रहा है, दूसरे पैर में दूसरा चल रहा है, जिससे हम माइक्रोस्कोप को हम
Absolutely.
कंट्रोल करते हैं.
जब तक आपने नहीं कहा मैंने भी ये आई रियली डिडंट थिंक कि वी
Yes.
आर लिटरली यूजिंग एवरी सेंस.
Yes, every sense, and we are looking into the microscope
Yes.
and we are also talking to the patient, क्योंकि हमने अपने पेशेंट को कोई इंजेक्शन नहीं दिया. हम पेशेंट को बस ड्रॉप डालते हैं, उससे आंख सुन हो जाती है.
True.
So basically, it is requires that ambidextrity.
Yes,
right?
ambidextrous
So,
हो तो
ambidextrous
सब
हो तो सब कुछ ठीक है. That's why playing video games as a child can actually help.
But
which
I don't
goes
want every
again-
children to go and play video games.
Okay, yes. Coming on to video games and screens, you are a
Yes,
mother.
yes.
So I get lots of mothers who come with their children to my clinic and they say कि बहुत सारी स्क्रीन देखता है. सुबह उठते ही मोबाइल,
Yes,
शाम को
absolutely.
स्कूल में टैबलेट, शाम को आके कंप्यूटर, चश्मा का नंबर. If you see, as of now, I would say out of a class of 50, 25 or 20 children do wear glasses.
Correct.
Right?
And
That
it's going
is-
to only increase
is going
more
to
and more.
increase.
Yeah.
And the children who are coming to us, let's say there's a family of 4 coming to us, parents and 2 children. One definitely has glasses and the
Yes.
second is just on the verge of wearing glasses.
Yes.
तो ये हो रहा है. मैंने बोला कि कंप्यूटर्स, वीडियो गेम्स खेलने से हैंड आई कोऑर्डिनेशन इंप्रूव होता है, दैट आई अंडरस्टैंड, बट लेकिन उसका जो दूसरा पहलू है.
हाँ, मतलब
Yes.
वो लिमिट नहीं करते हैं लोग. उनको अच्छा है तो चलो पूरा दिन वही करो. There's all anything in excess is bad, that kind of theory. But coming back to the point कि बच्चों को हम किस तरह से अवॉइड ये कर सकते हैं या नहीं, पहला क्वेश्चन तो ये है. सो एक स्टोरी बताती हूँ. जब मेरी शादी होने वाली थी, मुझे चश्मे हैं, आई नीड टू वेयर ग्लासेस,
Yeah.
और मेरे हस्बैंड को भी चश्मे थे. सो मैंने शादी के पहले उसे पूछा तुम्हारा नंबर कितना है, बिकॉज एवरी पेरेंट शुड नो कि अगर माँ और बाप को नंबर है और वो एक पावर से अगर ज़्यादा हो तो बच्चे को आने ही वाला है.
Okay.
और वो एक हद से ज़्यादा ना बढ़े, इस चीज़ के लिए हमें कुछ करना है. और अदर आज उतनी सुविधाएं हैं कि हम कुछ करें कि वो और ज़्यादा और कंटिन्यूसली बढ़े ना. सो वो चीज़ हमें बहुत यंग एज से ही देखते जानी इम्पॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज एक बार वो सेंसिटिव टाइम चला गया, फिर हम दोबारा उसके बाद कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
You're right. ऐसा ही केस मेरे साथ भी. एक पेशेंट, एक फैमिली आई थी, मदर, फादर एंड सन. सन वाज अबाउट 6 years old. पेरेंट्स आए एंड दे वर वेरी हार्ड ऑन द चाइल्ड. बच्चे को चश्मे का नंबर था -2. अभी तक चश्मा नहीं पहन रहा था, -2 था. बट व्हेन आई सॉ दोनों पेरेंट्स को, लाइक यू सेड, दोनों को बहुत मोटे मोटे चश्मे, तो वो उस बच्चे पे इतने हार्ड थे कि ये हम इसको बिल्कुल कंप्यूटर नहीं दिखाते, बिल्कुल स्क्रीन नहीं दिखाते, बाहर खेलने जाता है, पूरे दिन में सिर्फ हाफ एन आवर स्क्रीन करता है, फिर भी नंबर आ गया. तो आपने बहुत अच्छा
Correct.
पॉइंट रेस किया कि दैट बिकॉज ऑफ जेनेटिक्स
हाँ जी.
भी पावर आता है. बट आई वुड ऑल्सो लाइक टू एड that computer screens though are causing an increase in power, but they are very important for
They are.
social development.
Today, if you say कि बच्चों को हम टेक्नोलॉजी से दूर रखें, तो then you are not nobody is a bigger fool than you. You need to know how to control it. So जैसे कि वो पैरानॉइड माँ बाप थे, हम भी थोड़े से हैं. हमने घर पे टीवी नहीं रखा है because I was afraid that the children will be addicted to it. We've got big windows in the house. Not everybody can afford that privilege. But ये क्यों? क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि UV लाइट और अदर विटामिन D, सनलाइट जो है,
Yes.
उसका कितना प्रोटेक्टिव इफेक्ट है.
Yes.
हमने ये रखा कि हमें बच्चों को बाहर खेलने जाने देना है, 1 घंटा 2 घंटा फ्री प्ले करना है, बहुत सारा पास का काम नहीं करना है. तो हर चीज़ में हमें थोड़े से लिमिट्स रखना इम्पॉर्टेंट है. अब टीवी तो नहीं रखा, बट मेरा बेटा इतना पढ़ता है, उसको बुक्स बहुत पसंद है, तो वो बुक्स लेके बैठता है. बट दैट इज अगेन अ नियर वर्क. सो तुम टीवी तो छूट गया, लेकिन तुम बुक्स के साथ बैठोगे तो इट इज़ वन एंड द सेम थिंग.
Yes.
सो इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट द पेरेंट्स बिकम अवेयर टुडे कि हमें हर समय कुछ तो चीज़ ये डिस्टेंस पे नहीं करनी है, इसे हमें ब्रेक्स देने हैं.
Breaks then.
अभी बच्चा स्कूल जाके आता है, 1 घंटे विदिन 15 मिनट्स वो ट्यूशन जाता है. ट्यूशन के बाद वो दूसरे कोई क्लास को जाता है, उसके बाद वो घर आके होमवर्क करता है, फिर सुबह फिर से दोबारा वही साइकिल शुरू. सो इतना, एक तो वो सारा रैट रेस में हम कितना जाना है, ऑफ कोर्स इट्स एवरी पेरेंट्स प्रेरोगेटिव, वो उन्हें चूज करना है, बट चश्मे लगेंगे फॉर श्योर जो इतना पास का काम हर समय रहा तो ये आपको डिसाइड करना है कि वो आय के हेल्थ को आप कितना इम्पोर्टेंस दे रहे हैं, ब्रेक्स कितने मिल रहे हैं पास के काम को दिन भर में, एंड दैट व्हाट सेट्स द फ्यूचर.
दूसरा, अब अगेन कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट ऑफ पेरेंट्स एंड चिल्ड्रन, बहुत पेरेंट्स मैंने ऐसे भी देखे हैं जो अवॉइड करते हैं कि दैट अगर नंबर है तो पहनाना नहीं, उनको लगता है कि चश्मे नहीं पहनाते,
हाँ, वो खराब है क्यों लगाए.
बट उनको कैसे एक्सप्लेन करें कि वो और ज़्यादा नुकसानदायक है?
सो सबसे एक आई थिंक बड़ा मिथ ये है कि चश्मा है तो खराब है, आँख मेरा खराब है. ऐसे नहीं है. चश्मा क्यों आता है? क्योंकि आँख का साइज जैसे हम डेवलप होते हैं, हमारा हाइट जिस तरह से बढ़ता है उसी तरह से आय का साइज बढ़ता है, और उस वजह से ये चश्मे का नंबर आता है. बिकॉज वो लाइट एक रेटिना जो कि पीछे का एक परत है उस पे फोकस होने के लिए हमें सामने लेंस डालनी पड़ती है आँखों के. अब वो अगर एक स्पेसिफिक नंबर तक रहा, जैसे कि मे बी 5 और 6, ये नेचुरल डेवलपमेंटल वेरिएशन तक रहता है. अगर वो उससे धीरे धीरे बढ़ जा रहा हो, 10 हो रहा, 12 हो रहा है, 18, 20, आई हैव सीन पेशेंट्स अप टिल -34 ऑफ अ ग्लास पावर. तो इतना जब वो बढ़ जाता है तब डिफ़िकल्टीज हो जाते हैं, आँख थोड़ा सा वीक हो जाता है, तब हम उसे पैथोलॉजिकल या प्रॉब्लम कह सकते हैं. -2, -3 ये थोड़ा नेचुरल डेवलपमेंटल रेंज है जिसे पेरेंट्स को समझना है कि ये नॉर्मल है. अगर तुम चश्मा नहीं लगाओगे तो चाइल्ड कुछ देखेगा नहीं, तो उसका लाइफ और भी पास में ही रिस्ट्रिक्ट हो जाएगा. दूर का दिखेगा नहीं तो वो सिर्फ बुक लेगा,
एंटी सोशल हो जाएगा.
हाँ जी, वो बुक लेगा, वो मोबाइल्स देखेगा, स्क्रीन्स देखेगा, जिससे दोबारा उसका नंबर बढ़ने वाला है.
जिससे उसको दूर का नजर नहीं आ रहा
नहीं,
चश्मा नहीं पहन रहा,
तो
पास
वो
का नजर
पास
आ रहा
में
है.
फोकस हो जाएगा. सो चश्मा ना लगा के इनफैक्ट वो पेरेंट्स उनका नंबर और बढ़ा रहे हैं. सो यू हैव टू वेयर ग्लासेस, बट इम्पॉर्टेंट टू वेयर द करेक्ट पावर ग्लासेस. तो वो ईयरली चेकअप जो है वो करते जाना बहुत जरूरी है. जब जब वो नंबर बढ़ा तो उस समय वो बदल के दीजिएगा. अभी pediatric ophthalmologists have something for myopia control. So today,
I was coming on to that.
yes, so बहुत सारी चीज़ें अभी फॉर्चुनेटली आई है, ड्रॉप्स है, थेरेपीज़ है, जिससे कि हम वो बढ़ते हुए नंबर को थोड़ा सा रोक सकते हैं. मगर वो करेक्ट टाइम पे, वो सेंसिटिव पीरियड में. अगर कोई बच्चा 15-16 ईयर्स पे आके हमें कहे कि अब चश्मे को रिवर्स कर दो, तो वो डिफिकल्ट है.
ये आपने जो पीरियड बोला, करेक्ट पीरियड, व्हाट एक रफ फिगर देंगे?
सो लाइक आई सेड, 3 साल से हमें पहले चेकअप करना शुरुआत करनी है. 5 साल पे पहले नेक्स्ट प्रॉपर चेकअप होगा. उस समय अगर कोई डिटेक्ट चीज़ हुई हो तो एटलीस्ट 8 to 11 ईयर्स तक उसका हम चेंज कुछ कर सकते हैं, स्लो डाउन कर सकते हैं नंबर के बढ़ने को.
सो बेसिकली अप टू द एज ऑफ 11 वी हैव विजुअल डेवलपमेंट, तब हमारी आईज का नंबर चेंज हो रहा होता है. सो जो थेरेपीज आपने बोले, आई नो, एक तो देयर इज समथिंग दैट बहुत पेरेंट्स को इनफैक्ट ये रहता है कि डॉक्टर साहब को ऐसी ड्रॉप बताओ कि नंबर इसका वापस हो जाए. तो ऐसा कुछ है
नहीं. सो बहुत सारे लोग वो प्रिस्क्राइब करके ट्रीट भी करते हैं. आई मीन नॉट द ऑफ्थल्मोलॉजिस्ट, बट बेसिकली वो क्या चीज़ है कि वो लेंस हमारी जैसे रहती है, इट इज़ अटैच्ड ऑल ओवर बाय समथिंग कॉल्ड अ जोन्यूल. सो इमेजिन अ ट्रैम्पोलिन को कैसे बाजू में स्ट्रिंग्स रहते हैं. अब वो ट्रैम्पोलिन को इस तरह से कर दो तो वो आंखों में लेंस इज द ट्रैम्पोलिन एंड दो स्ट्रिंग्स, तो वो लेंस को पकड़ा रहता है. अब हमारा लेंस दिन भर शेप चेंज करता रहता है, सुबह से शाम, डिपेंडिंग कि हम दूर देख रहे हैं या पास देख रहे हैं. अब वो कोई ड्रॉप्स ऐसे है कि वो स्ट्रिंग्स को लूजन कर देते हैं. अगर वो लूजन करे तो वो आँख का शेप चेंज होता है एंड वो लेंस रिलैक्स्ड रहता है. हम जब पास देखते हैं वो स्ट्रिंग्स एकदम कंस्ट्रिक्टेड रहते हैं. इसके लिए वो ओवर टाइम थक के, और अदर इन अ वे टू एक्सप्लेन टू अ जनरल पब्लिक, द नंबर बढ़ना शुरू हो जाता है. सो वो ड्रॉप्स उसको रिलैक्स करते हैं थोड़ी देर के लिए, ताकि वो लेंस ज़्यादा स्पैज़म में ना जाए और वो प्रोग्रेशन को हॉल्ट करते हैं.
सो नंबर को वापस नहीं करते.
नहीं,
मान लो किसी का नंबर -3 से -6 जाना था, हो सकता है -4 पे रोक.
Correct.
So they only
But that
halt the
itself is a
progression.
huge achievement
Yes,
कि वो
it is.
चश्मा अगर 3 या 4 तक ही सीमित किया जाए तो उसे हम बहुत कुछ आगे 18 साल के बाद अभी सर्जरीज है उतने जो कि हम टारगेट करके वो करेक्ट कर सकते हैं. अगर वो बढ़ता ही गया धीरे 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 तो जैसे कि मैंने कहा कि वो आई देन बिकम्स एट रिस्क,
Right.
which we don't want it to.
So let's say you get a child who's 13 years old, now just entering puberty and making friends, becoming social. He or she becomes conscious of his
Yes,
or her
appearances,
appearance,
correct.
and they've got a -5 power, and now they come to you saying कि मेरे को चश्मा हटाना at the age of 13, 14. What do you tell them or the parents?
So I will, I think as a doctor, as a woman, I first see that it is my role to kind of let them know that glasses are not bad.
Yes.
It's great that you have glasses. That means you've done a lot of reading. You are a good student. But at the same time, if they wish to have an option, क्योंकि a 13-year-old is active. They want to go for treks. They want to go in the rain. They want to live their life fully.
Yes.
So there are contact lenses which can be used at that age. We will not go. हमें permanent solution जो कि refractive surgeries है वो हमें इस एज पे नहीं करनी रहती बिकॉज जैसे कि एज बढ़ेगा 18 साल तक वो नंबर धीरे धीरे और बढ़ सकता है.
Okay.
तो तब तक हमें कोई भी परमानेंट सोल्यूशन लेना बेहतर नहीं बिकॉज वो उसके बाद अगर दोबारा चेंज हुआ तो सर्जरी का करना मतलब नहीं है. सो हम उस समय एट एज 13 या 14 वो बच्चे को कॉन्टैक्ट लेंसेज दे सकते हैं. उसे सिखा के इफ़ दे हैव दैट लेवल ऑफ मैच्योरिटी कि वो क्लीनिंग कैसे करे डाल सकते हैं या नहीं वो सब सिखा के दैट इज़ अ ग्रेट ऑप्शन दैट द चाइल्ड कैन अंडरगो. देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ ऑप्शंस जैसे कि ऑर्थोकेरेटोलॉजी वो भी एक ऑप्शन है. सो ये एक लेंसेज है जो कि रात में हम आँखों में डाल सकते हैं एंड वो आँखों के शेप को जैसे कि आँखों को नहीं कॉर्निया को जो एक बाहर की जो लेयर है उसके ऊपर वो कॉन्टैक्ट लेंस रहती है और वो रीशेप करती है ओवरनाइट ताकि सुबह वो लेंस निकाल के द चाइल्ड इज एबल टू सी वेरी वेल फॉर द होल डे. इसके लिमिटेशंस है हर जन में ये नहीं यूज़ कर सकते. बहुत ज़्यादा नंबर हो तो नहीं यूज़ कर सकते लेकिन देर आर अ ह्यूज सबसेट ऑफ पेशेंट्स जिनको ये ऑप्शन भी अवेलेबल है.
ओके. सो वंस द चाइल्ड क्रॉसेस 18 साल का हो जाता है तो तब वी एंटर द वर्ल्ड ऑफ रिफ्रैक्टिव सर्जरी. सो you are a trained refractive surgeon, Dr. Tanvi. आप बताओ कि that what was your experience getting trained in refractive? आपने अपनी ट्रेनिंग कहाँ करी थी?
Yes.
Because lots refractive surgery is a science which is very advanced.
True.
It is heavily dependent on technology.
Yes.
And वो सबको अवेलेबल नहीं है. जो हमारे मेडिकल कॉलेज हैं
Correct.
वहाँ हर जगह ये टेक्नोलॉजी होना
Because
possible
this is
नहीं
the
है.
only department or specialty which is heavily based on machines.
Yes.
And each machine costs a lot.
Yes.
So not every institute can afford it. Not everybody can have all of these.
So I'll tell you मैं अपना ट्रेनिंग का बताता हूँ. जब मैं MS ophthalmology कर रहा था, in our third year we have this paper where we talk on advances in ophthalmology. That's where we study refractive surgery much.
Correct.
Because इतना पढ़ाया जाता नहीं because it's not something that you can learn without machines. You can't just read and learn refractive surgery. So what tips do you have for beginners or ophthalmologists who are just completing the ophthalmology, going into residency and wanting to train as a refractive surgeon? What should they do? Taking from your experience.
Yes. So I think it is important to go to a place which has all the options because today refractive surgery just doesn't mean doing LASIK. There is still a lot of people who will only do LASIK and then tell the patient कि आपको सिर्फ लेसिक कर सकते हैं दूसरा ऑप्शन है ही नहीं. Now when so it is important to train at a place जहाँ हर टाइप के आँख को कुछ तो ऑप्शन रहे.
Right.
So choose people who are doing this surgery for a very long time. You एक तो बेसिक आपका रेसिडेंसी के बाद जो फेलोशिप रहेगा 1-2 साल डिपेंडिंग ऑन वेयर यू आर ट्रेनिंग वो होने के बाद द लर्निंग नेवर एंड्स. यू कैन ऑलवेज लर्न फ्रॉम सो मेनी मोर पीपल बिकॉज जैसे कि आपने कहा ये टेक्नोलॉजी है वो चेंज ही हो रही है. एवरी ईयर वी आर सीइंग इनोवेशंस, न्यूअर मशीन्स कमिंग इन. बट एट द सेम टाइम ये सब सीखने के बाद आप जब आपके प्रैक्टिस में आते हो और फिर आप जो मशीन लेते हो उस मशीन को समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Right.
3 साल के रेसिडेंसी और फेलोशिप के बाद तो आपने स्किल तो ले लिया. करना कैसे है ये रिफ्रैक्टिव सर्जरी में बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट नहीं है. करने के पहले इस आँख को मैं ये करूँ क्या, ये डिसीजन जो लेना है वो बहुत ज़रूरी है, और वो अंडरस्टैंड करना आई थिंक इज़ व्हाट मेक्स यू अ गुड और अ बैड रिफ्रैक्टिव सर्जन.
Okay, I'll give you my experience. मैंने अपना जब MS ophthalmology ख़त्म किया तो मैंने I was thinking what should I do, because it's a long journey. You do your MBBS, then your MS. You're already
Yeah.
about 8.5 years into
Yeah.
your career,
Correct.
and you're still not earning.
Yeah.
At that point, you need to understand what your priorities are. सबका अपने होता है. People get married by that
Yes.
age, and some people have children also. So of course, feeding your family and multiple things also come into the picture. At that stage, going into a kind of a field that is very intensive in machinery and investment
Yeah.
is very difficult. Why? Because I don't have a practice. I'm working at Center for Sight.
Correct.
Right. So when I started my fellowship, I was amazed. Why? Because simply the amount of technology there is,
Yeah.
and it is available at my disposal.
Yeah.
Right? I can see crores of machines. So
Yeah.
I am having a ball. Why?
Yeah.
Because I have all the machinery.
Yeah.
I have a LASIK here. I have a Smile here.
Yeah.
Silk here. So many options that I have.
True.
And I am spoiled for choice.
Correct.
I have the option of telling a patient कि आपको हम
ये
स्माइल भी
जाओ,
कर सकते
correct.
हैं, सिल्क भी कर सकते हैं,
Correct.
लेसिक भी कर सकते हैं, कॉन्टूर लेसिक भी कर सकते हैं, पीआर के भी कर सकते हैं. सो दैट इज वन पार्ट ऑफ द प्रैक्टिस. बट लाइक यू सेड, बहुत जगह ऐसा होता है कि डॉक्टर्स बोलते हैं आपके लिए बस सिल्क हो सकती है या फिर
Correct.
स्माइल हो सकता
Correct.
है,
Because उनके पास
उनके
वो
वही
है.
मशीन है. सो द पेशेंट गेट्स अ बिट कंफ्यूज्ड.
Yeah.
हाउ डू यू ब्रिज दैट गैप ऑफ
Yeah.
टेलिंग द पेशेंट कि या तो आप बिल्कुल अनफिट हो,
Yeah.
या फिट हो तो आप मल्टीपल सर्जरीज के लिए फिट हो.
Correct. So I think you have to be a bit transparent and honest with the patient, because today is the world where it's everybody's gone online, looked at something and
Yes.
come to you and said, मुझे ये करवाना
Yes.
है. But it is important for us to understand, one, the patient's eye, and obviously if you're trained enough to understand the eye well and to give a good decision, then
Yeah.
you need to tell the patient that this is what I feel is good for you.
Yeah.
And yes, if the patient is hell-bent on getting a particular surgery because of whatever other reasons, you may want to explain that yes, if you wish to undergo that, you're more than welcome to do it.
Yes.
But I feel that you will get an equally good result with this procedure. For example, if you just have one machine and if you cannot offer the other option,
Yes.
you may want to tell them, if you wish to get that, I can recommend you to a colleague of mine or whoever who has that machine. But if you think honestly that you can give the patient the same type of post-operative outcome, then you have to be honest and be confident in saying that.
Yeah,
So for
because-
example, when I finished my training at Netradama with Dr. Sri Ganesh, who is a pioneer in refractive
Yes,
surgery, and
yes.
at that time he had the Visomax, he had so Smile was just about starting at that time, and as in he had done Smile, he was trying to do it for hyperopic LASIK,
Yes.
and hyperopic eyes. And once all of that was done, and when I came back, all I had was the excimer laser. So,
yes.
even though I knew how to do a Smile procedure, there was no way that I could use it or do it. So, the point is that you need to understand that over time, group practices or practices where maybe there's a machine and then you kind of 4 or 5 of you go together and
Pull in.
operate at that place makes sense.
Makes sense.
Because this specialty particularly is heavily dependent on machines. And but at the same time, like I said, there is no one procedure which is best. You will have certain things to look at, like a pros and cons for that surgery versus that patient's need and lifestyle.
Yes.
And if you can give something good with the machine that you have to be confident and you have to be able to tell that to the patient.
So if I walk through generations of refractive surgery, initially we had something known as an RK,
Yes.
right, where we used to make cuts on the cornea with a blade. So you've not seen that surgery happen. We've seen
I
patients.
have seen that surgery happen. I mean,
Happen?
I've not
Yes.
seen that surgery happen, but I've seen a lot of those patients
Yes,
come in.
yes,
My
yes.
father used to do
Yes.
RKs.
That was
So-
the first generation
Yes.
of refractive
Yes.
surgeons where RK was done.
Yes.
जब cornea पे cuts लगते थे.
Yes.
So I don't know how a patient would feel कि मेरी आँख में cut लगने वाला है.
I
So
don't
तब-
think, Raghav, I can't believe how they can see today. I understand there are RKs done for 4 cuts, fine. I'm absolutely
cuts.
okay with that. 8 cuts, fine. 12, fine. We've seen 28, 32, and the whole cornea has been cut. I mean, obviously at that time, the surgeon obviously felt that this
were the
works and
best.
then they did it. But today, when we look at those aberrated eyes, we feel bad. And I mean, doing something like that is today we won't ever think of.
And dealing with those eyes now is our
Yes,
burden.
because absolutely, we are seeing them day in and day out because they all have cataracts,
Yes.
and it's not a very easy way for us to give them a good post-operative outcome. But also, I would like to say a lot of those patients are very happy as well because for some reason the cornea has become a multifocal cornea.
Yeah, so they get
So they get great vision
multifocality.
and they become unhappy after cataract surgery. So we need to know this. We need to have that conversation, counsel them well about what to expect, and then go ahead.
तो अगर हम जर्नी देखें रिफ्रैक्टिव सर्जरी की, पहले आरके से स्टार्ट हुआ जब कॉर्निया में कट्स लगते थे, फिर पीआरके सर्जरी आई जिसमें हम
That's
कॉर्निया के ऊपर के लेयर को हटा के फिर एक एक्साइमर लेजर से कॉर्निया को रीशेप करते हैं. देन वी केम ऑन टू ब्लेड लेसिक.
Correct.
कॉर्निया पे हम एक ब्लेड से एक फ्लैप उठाते हैं और फिर एक और लेजर फायर करके नंबर हटाते हैं. देन वी केम इनटू ब्लेडलेस लेसिक
Correct.
where no blades were used, and then we came on to flapless procedures like
Correct.
SMILE, which are now called KLEX,
Correct.
right? Keratorefractive lenticle
Lenticular
extractions,
extraction,
where
yeah.
basically जो हम टिश्यू लेसिक में बर्न कर रहे थे हम इसमें KLEX में रिमूव कर रहे हैं. So of course the first generation, and that was SMILE. Then of course Silk came. Are you doing such kind of
So
surgeries?
what we have is the clear procedure, which is
Okay.
by Zimmer, which is also a
How do
femtosecond
you,
laser.
what is clear? Is it like
So
acronym?
yeah, it's a corneal lenticle extraction procedure. So but basically it is the same. I mean, it's a similar procedure to most of the others,
Okay.
wherein the femtosecond laser makes a lenticule,
Yes.
and then with a small incision as small as 3 millimeters, we go in and we remove the lenticule.
So basically now it's too confusing for the patients. Of
Yes,
course, even
all
for the
these names.
ophthalmologist, it
Yes.
becomes very confusing कि क्या क्या type of surgeries हैं. पहले तो सिर्फ हमें डील करना था लिसिक और स्माइल से. अब
तो
स्माइल के
Smile,
साथ
Silk.
सिल्क भी आ गया है, क्लियर भी आ गया है,
हाँ
और
जी,
बहुत सारे
बहुत अलग।
प्लेटफॉर्म्स आ गए हैं जो अब मार्केट में हैं.
हाँ.
सो बेसिकली दे आर कलेक्टिवली नोन एज KLEX.
Yes.
बट उसके अंदर डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ सर्जरीज हैं,
हाँ जी.
स्माइल, सिल्क, क्लियर, बट दे ऑल बेसिकली गिव द सेम रिजल्ट.
Yes.
Right?
Similar results. See, each machine has its slight variations. That's
Okay.
why I said it is important कि आप कोई भी मशीन लो तो उस मशीन को अच्छे से समझो.
Right.
And over time, when that machine is optimized well, you will be, shelling out similar results for a patient. When we say कि हम ये सब क्यों कर रहे हैं, we are at the end of the day wanting to give a patient
Yes.
6x6 vision with good visual quality. And that is something all of these lasers are able to achieve. So है तो नाम अलग अलग,
हाँ.
मगर अगर वो सर्जन को वो मशीन पे कॉन्फिडेंस है, if he
Yes.
knows that it's giving good results, I don't think the patient today should be confused कि मुझे सिल्क ही चाहिए या मुझे स्माइल ही चाहिए या क्लियर ही चाहिए.
ओके, सो सिंपली पुट, अगर मैं एक आंख में स्माइल करूं, एक
हाँ.
आंख में क्लियर, एक आंख में सिल्क और एक आंख में
हाँ,
क्लियर,
हाँ.
सो क्या पेशेंट को बहुत फर्क पता लगेगा?
शायद नहीं, लेकिन वो पेशेंट डेफिनेटली अगर बोलेगा कि एक दूसरे से अलग है, बिकॉज लाइक आई सेड, सी जैसे कि क्लियर जो प्रोसीजर है,
Yes.
द मशीन यूजेस अ लो एनर्जी लेजर, सो इट इज ऑलमोस्ट एनर्जी दैट इज डिलीवर्ड इज इन नैनो जूल्स.
Right.
सो उसका जो इफेक्ट रहता है, एटलीस्ट इन द इमीडिएट पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव पीरियड, माइट बी स्लाइटली डिफरेंट टू अ Zeiss machine.
Right.
So everything is, I think the difference is more in the initial few weeks to months. At the end of 1 to 2 to 3 months, आपने ये करा हो या वो करा हो, I think the visual quality will probably be the same. So initial recovery definitely will be different depending on how and who's doing it, as well as what machine is being used.
I recently read an article जहाँ पे ऐसी बहुत फ्यू स्टडीज है जहाँ पे दोनों आंख में अलग सर्जरी
हाँ.
करी है. एक आंख में स्माइल किया था, एक आंख में लिसिक किया था, ब्लेडलेस.
Correct.
एंड दे सॉ कि पेशेंट का प्रेफरेंस क्या है ओवर टाइम. सो इनिशियली द रिजल्ट्स हुआ दैट जिस आंख में लेसिक हुआ है, पेशेंट्स ने उनको प्रेफर
Prefer
किया.
करा.
But the surprising turn of events was that as time passed by, over 12 months and 24 months, the patient said कि जिस आंख में
Smile
स्माइल
was
हुआ है वो
better.
बेटर है.
Correct.
You know why? Why? Because
Yeah.
the incision was much smaller.
Yeah.
So the dryness,
Absolutely.
the healing is much faster there.
Inflammation, everything is so much lesser if you compare to LASIK versus SMILE. So
Yes.
that's where I think the future is going to be a lenticule based one, because over time हमारे सबके स्क्रीन यूज इतने बढ़ गए हैं, our lifestyles, as you said, has become very much to the near and intermediate.
yes.
So that screen use is going to induce a lot more dry eye than we expected. And especially after lockdown, हमने तो देखा है कि हर जन, every other person is saying foreign body sensation है, आँख में कोई पानी आता है. So ये जो दिक्कतें हैं वो हम लेसिक से थोड़े से बढ़ाते हैं.
Very important point you made. I'll just ask one more question. If we go into that strain and foreign body sensation, dry eye is a very big problem these days.
Yes.
If the patient, a young patient, 25 years old, working in the IT sector, working on the screen for a long duration,
Yeah.
I think उनमें हम टेस्ट कर सकते हैं जानने के लिए कि उनमें ड्राइनेस है या नहीं.
Yes. Very easy one.
एंड उनमें ड्राइनेस आ भी जाता है.
हाँ जी.
राइट, बिकॉज सिंपल सा फंडा है, हम जब किसी स्क्रीन को देखते हैं हम ब्लिंक कम करना स्टार्ट करते हैं, क्योंकि हमारा ध्यान स्क्रीन पे होता है एंड वी डोंट रियलाइज वी आर नॉट ब्लिंकिंग.
Yes.
एंड इफ वी डोंट ब्लिंक, ऑफ कोर्स आवर आईज आर ओपन एंड देन हमारे टीयर्स इवेपोरेट होते हैं. तो टीयर्स तो कम हो ही रहे हैं, बट टीयर्स की क्वालिटी भी खराब हो रही है.
Yes.
एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी हैव द सिम्पटम्स.
Yeah, and in what's happening is कि वो जो tears deficiency कहो या that damage which is happening जो because of that non-present of the tear film, वहाँ पे वो constantly एक damage कर रही है, inflammation कर रही है, जो over time एक क्रॉनिक प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है. तो कितना भी आप ड्रॉप्स डालो, कितना ट्रीट करो, द मिनट यू स्टॉप द ड्रॉप्स द प्रॉब्लम स्टार्ट्स अगेन. सो एट दिस पॉइंट आई जस्ट वांट टू टेल द व्यूअर्स एज वेल दैट देयर आर सम फ्यू सिंपल थिंग्स यू कैन ऑल्सो डू विच कैन हेल्प यू डिटेक्ट डू यू हैव ड्राई आई और नॉट. सो अ सिंपल थिंग कि आप टाइमर लगाओ आपके फ़ोन पे and just keep your eyes open. तो पहले हम छोटे बचपन में staring game खेलते थे. I tried doing that with my son the other day. I couldn't last more than 7-8 seconds, and he lasted for almost a minute, which was surprising. I mean, I realized then that the strength of a tear film in children, it is so good, and we couldn't. So you can all try that. Keep it on. I mean, timer को शुरू करो, आँख को खुला रखो. If you are not able to keep your eyes open more than 7 seconds, it means you have dry eye of some sort of grade.
That's something new I've learned.
And
that actually makes sense.
It has come up by so the Dew's classification.
Yes, dry eye.
Yeah,
Dry eye
by Dr. Craig. She's the one who's kind of got this. They've studied and they've looked at a lot of eyes, and this 7 seconds blink test is what they are calling it. They've looked at it, and it's such a simple tool that you can do at home and just figure out and know whether you have dry eye. Of course, when you come to the clinic, there are so many other tests we can do to help you, detect whether it's this type or that type or whatever type of dry eye that you have. But this is something you should do, or at least play a staring game with your children.
Before we sign off,
Yeah.
if not an ophthalmologist, what would you have been?
I would have been a singer.
Really?
Yes. So I always thought I sang well, but only when I started learning classical Hindustani did I realize how bad I sing. But now I am training myself, and I hope that over time things will. If my hands stop working, at least my voice continues to.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Tanvi. It was lovely having you.
Thank you for having me as well. It was great.
And let's meet again soon.
Thank you.